Hello and welcome back to my channel. I love to have you back here. And for those of you that are new, I'm Stephanie and I make videos on the topic of language learning. In today's video, I want to talk about a widespread belief that actually a lot of people have had as a result of learning languages at school most often and not being able to learn them, or trying inefficient methods as adults and not being able to learn those languages. And that is that only certain people can learn foreign languages. Not everybody can do it, and there's almost something like a language gene. Here's why I think that line of thinking is completely false. So thinking about other skills that we have in life, because language learning is a skill. So let's think about, for example, swimming. You will not hear most people say that because they can never swim as fast as Michael Phelps, then that means that there's no use to bother and they just don't have the swimming gene and they just can't learn how to do it. That is something absurd when you think about it, but we do the same thing with language learning. We're like, well, I will never be Richard Simcott, who speaks 50 languages or however many he speaks these days, I'm not sure, but he's truly impressive and he has done this for so many years and he speaks a huge number of languages. And so if somebody's like, yeah, I can't do that, I don't have the talent, the time, whatever you wish to be your excuse, then well, there's no point in learning. There's no point in learning one or two languages because like, I can never be that, right? We don't think that way about other disciplines in life. We don't think that way when we're learning to play a certain sport, learning to swim, when we're learning to write, right? We will never, most of us are never gonna be a New York Times bestselling author. Does that mean that we should not learn how to, I don't know, write a research paper or write like a short story if that's what is required of us at school, because we're never gonna be able to be one of the greats? Or for example, why bother learning to play the piano? I'm never gonna be a virtuoso that's like world famous or something of the sort. We can all learn certain skills. And yeah, we might not go down in history as one of the greats, but that doesn't mean that that skill is inaccessible to us. And I think that when it comes to many of those skills that I was talking about, like the, sports or certain arts and crafts or chess or whatever it is, whatever skill in life, we don't think that way. But when it comes to language learning, for some reason, many of us have convinced ourselves that it's like something totally different and that only very few people in the world can do it. When the truth is, the human brain is wired to learn a language. You can learn a language, you see, because you already learned your native one. If you couldn't do it, if you didn't have this ability, if it was about some sort of magical language gene, you would not be able to speak your native language. You would not be able to learn it, you would not be able to understand what I'm talking about right now. None of that would be accessible to you if you truly didn't have the language gene. But you do, because all of us do. Being able to learn to speak a language is part of the human condition, and it's what we're basically wired to do. And the fact that you're able to learn your native language means that you can learn another one and another one. It's all about finding a method that works for you, recreating this kind of environment in which you get a lot of exposure, because that's what we get as children, exposure, not grammar tables. And finding the method that works for you, that you can enjoy, because enjoyment is a big deal, that you can connect with, because children have this thing where they need it if they are to survive in this world. So for you it might not be survival, but it could be something that you're passionate about. My point is that if you were able to learn one language, you can certainly learn more if you find something that actually works for you. And yes, some things come more naturally to us than others. To go back to the example from before, how most of us are not going to be able to swim like Phelps, but most of us will in fact be able to learn to swim. That's the thing, you don't know what's going to be like your greatest gift in life. Maybe you have several, maybe you don't. Maybe language learning is one of them, you just haven't found that out yet. The point here is, it doesn't matter if it's the thing that comes to you naturally. Of course, like some things are gonna come to some people more easily than others. Some people are just gonna be really talented at it. But just because some people are super talented at math does not mean that you didn't learn to do basic math in school, right? Or just because some people are really talented at playing a certain sport or drawing or any of those things, that doesn't mean that you didn't also learn how to do that. And that doesn't mean that you can't learn how to do it. So when it comes to language learning, you don't have to be the most successful one out there. Maybe it is not your greatest talent, so what? That doesn't mean that you cannot learn languages to a certain extent. That doesn't mean that you cannot achieve your language learning goals. you don't have to be, this doesn't have to be your biggest gift and passion in life in order for you to be able to learn a language. Maybe all you want to do is learn one. Maybe you don't want to be a polyglot. Maybe you just want to be able to speak Spanish really well because it's super useful for your business. You can do it. It doesn't have to be your greatest talent. It doesn't have to be your greatest gift. There are certain principles that can help you learn Spanish to the extent that you're able to achieve your goals and what you're aiming for. Because many times, actually, fluency is not even that necessary. So I actually spent a year in a US high school, and while there, I took this elective that was called visual arts. And I always kind of I sometimes pick things that scare me and that look challenging just so I can test myself and see how far I can go. I never thought of myself as very artistically gifted in terms of like, in school, I was never really taught the principles to draw. It was more like, okay, draw. And that was it in school in Bulgaria. So ever since I've come to understand that there's like some basic principles and everybody can actually learn to draw pretty well based on those principles. But I never really went to that level. And so I was like going to an American high school thinking that I just didn't have the gene to be like very good at drawing or like visual arts, as I was just because of my drawing experience, I didn't think I could do it. And in that class, it actually turned out to be sculpture class. Like we would sculpt using clay and then bake those things. And so I was able to produce like a really good work of art. I am so proud of it. It's my first and last sculpting experience because I haven't done sculpting ever since. I can't say that it was just like a one-time thing, but it was never one of like my biggest passions for me to continue with sculpting, but I did so well in that class, and I believed throughout that I just didn't have the gene. I wasn't good at drawing, so I would probably suck at sculpting. And I just kind of had that limiting belief, but I just wanted to pick something interesting and new I hadn't done before. And so what that teacher taught me in that class was super valuable to me, because I don't have to be Michelangelo. I can just learn those principles that I was never taught in drawing. And by those principles, I could actually make a really pretty decent sculpture. And I could be super proud of it, even though I'm never going to be one of the greats. Who cares? I was so proud of what I achieved in that class just because my teacher showed me the correct principles. So as long as, you come across the correct principles in one of my videos or in the videos of some other polyglot on YouTube, or through your own self-exploration that you do by yourself and you find a method that sticks with you, whatever. If you have the correct attitude and if we have the correct tools, we can all learn a language, because we've already done it once. And so if you were to take anything away from this video, I wanted to be that there is no language gene, anybody can do it. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to have a conversation with you in the comments. See what you think about the language gene. Have you ever had this limiting belief like the one I had with like visual arts? And I would love to hear from you. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And I would love to see you again next week in my video. And until then, I wish you a great week and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.